Hi, everyone. Welcome back to this week's Quaternity Live. I'm Priyanka, some of you might know. Today I am joined by Shreyas, that some of you have also seen before on our live. This is the second time he's coming on. Chico, who all of us know and love very, very much. And Sabrina, who is our newest Quaternity Live guest. Hey, guys.
Hello. Hey, everyone.
Hello, hello. It's good to be back.
It is fairly early on a Sunday morning for some of us. So we're all here, we're all excited. And yeah, so one of the things we've been thinking about a lot for ourselves, and that's something that comes up a lot with new players and honestly, even with really seasoned old players, is this whole idea of quaternity is really unique concept of unspoken alliances. And so I thought I'd gather one version of a brain trust, quaternity's brain trust, and kind of just unpack what that means and kind of what we think about it, what we don't think about it, how we found it. Sabrina, I'd be really curious to know how you navigated as someone who's a little bit newer to the four-person dynamic in quaternity versus Shreyas and Chico, who have literally won tournaments together. So I'm just it's such an interesting place to approach this problem, or not problem, but this whole concept. So that's what y'all are doing here today. And then we'll play a quick game, because how can you talk about alliances and not follow that up by actually trying them out? Anyone want to start us off? Do you have thoughts, feelings, questions, concerns?
Well, I think you mentioned the tournament, and it's really cool because we play together as a team in Shreyas. And I think it's really cool because we're talking about general alliance between the four players, but I think another aspect of the game is that you can play as a team, right? And I think that's really, really, really cool. The intention of everyone else to form an unspoken alliance, and we did the first checkmate on them, and that gave us the tournament. Was really, really cool, right? And I think it was your strategy, right, Shreyas, at the beginning? I don't remember now.
It was mine.
You were the one.
But I guess before jumping into the details, for anybody who is not new to the game, that there's the concept of team, which is two people who are playing together on the same color and the same corner, which is different from the concept of an alliance, right? And an alliance is effectively a couple of, or maybe in some cases even three colors, playing together, but there's nothing explicit that has been agreed, because one of the big things is that these alliances are meant to be sort of dynamic and ephemeral or transient. They're not meant to be permanent or pre-agreed before the game. So for example, one of the things which on the technical side we've thought a lot about is how you sort of fight collusion, right? Because it can sort of really mess up the dynamic of the game if different parties come into the game just working together. But yeah, with that as a backdrop, I think that final that Chico was talking about was, yeah, that one was, I would say, on this slightly uglier side of the alliance, because it was we were playing probably the strongest quaternity team that has existed so far, and the other three colors, one of which was us, were in an unspoken alliance for about 40-50% of the game, something like that. I don't know. It was a long time. So that tends to happen, and it kind of throws the balance off a little bit. But I think when it really becomes fun is when the alliances start to become very fluid, where they're changing rapidly, and it's kind of hard to figure out who's going to be working with who at what point.
I had one comment and then one follow-up question. One was that when you were talking about how like alliances kind of become more fluid and that's more fun, I was thinking a lot about how in most of the games that I've played, including some of the ones that we play on Discord every week, in most of those games you can kind of feel those alliances shifting like through like as the game progresses. Like it might, like there's always like everyone kind of waits for like the first blood, and then it just zooms in on one or like a couple players or one side of the board, or sometimes occasionally you'll have like two battles going on like simultaneously, but then it eventually just keeps shifting, and it's like the most interesting thing and fascinating thing to watch. And occasionally it even happens, even though like it's not necessarily always the most fun thing, that like three colors will go against one, which is like, it's very fun for the three. It's just not so fun for the one person who's being attacked. But yeah, but it's part of the game, and it's a fun time. Yeah, so it's just interesting to see how that goes. But the second thing that I was really curious about, going back to Chico, what you said, so you were talking about this idea of like playing in a team and then like having this strategy for where for like being in an unspoken alliance. But I was curious for both of you, since when you were playing together, how did you ever have like any time where maybe one of you wanted to have an alliance with, like both of you wanted to have an alliance with different people, and you had to kind of figure that out amongst yourselves? Because I know you like will come together in like a vibe, but you're still two individuals. I was just curious how that worked, if you had any issues coming up or anything. Does my question make sense?
No, yeah, I think it goes a lot with the dynamic of the team, right? I think ideally is interesting to have like different players who play different parts, right? I think, and that's interesting because it can shift during that is to do. I was more moved, and I think Shreyas was more kind of weighing in with some. So I was doing more like the mechanical work, and he was like bringing I felt like that, right? Hey, look at that, let's do it. So, but I think there's a feeling and that's a very personal feeling, that the game has a dynamic, right? Is that exactly what you said? Because it's very ephemeral, as Shreya said, and it's supposed to be. So the game has like a dynamic, and it forces you to be constantly reevaluating this dynamic, which is really fun and keep you like into it. And like the game, like a final, which is like a long game, it's tiring. So you cannot be like very like there all the time. So that you kind of feel on the team who is more, and that's good when you're a team because you can divide. Sometimes you're just tired and you just back up a little bit, and the other player is a little bit more into that dynamic. So we have like this, as Shreyas will say what his perception is, but we have this kind of, I think you were the best person to do the decision right now. You know, I think we kind of developed this feeling of who was in a better place of perception of the dynamic. So even if we disagree, I say, no, if you're saying that, let's go with that because I trust in you in this moment, right? And that was really, really cool, actually, for me. It was a really good experience.
Yeah, I think that decision making ends up getting split in weird ways, and that also changes. But I would say the more like getting in, there's no like discrete moment when you get into an alliance, right? That's not like you can't choose to opt into an alliance. That's not the way the game works. It just sort of happens. So I think it's very rare that you intentionally decide to get into an alliance. It's you make a few moves and you see whether something catches. The place where there's a lot of controversy is when you have to get out of an alliance, because once you have been playing sort of in concert with some other team, at some point it's going to change. And I think that is the point when it's actually much more, it can end up leading to a much stronger disagreement between pairs, right? And so, for example, I think in that game we were green, and there were a couple of times when I wanted to move against black, and then we didn't, right? Because we had this like notional alliance with black, which Chico wanted to preserve. So I think going into an alliance is like not something you can plan for exactly. It just sort of it happens, and it's more about being aware that it has happened. But getting out of it intentionally is the, I think, more interesting point. So
yeah.
For sure.
So how do you decide like when is the best time to kind of like get out of an alliance or that sort of thing?
I mean, well, I guess that goes back to the game, right? And what you're looking to do. If it's still 4 players on the board, and I'll give you an example of something that is like easy to reason about. If you are allied with somebody else, and then that other person gets the first checkmate, it's like at that point it's like very obvious that you should probably not continue to work with that color to like beat up the other small player on the board, right? You probably need to switch over to the other color with just one army. That's like an example where it's like fairly straightforward, I think. But it's mostly to keep the balance in the game, right? Because if you're still playing the game to win, you're not playing the game to make the other person win. And so like often the tricky thing when you're making these concessions is that once you're the color you are nominally allied with ends up becoming stronger, and you need to sort of pay attention to that, right? There are also like in these cases where there are 2 separate confrontations going on, there end up being like these weird momentum shifts that happen, and like if you're not careful, everybody's going to be at your doorstep. And so like that's like the other sort of situation where you want to be, because just like you are thinking about what the right time to get out is, so are they. And when the music stops, you better have a chair, right? And so it's like you don't want to be the last person standing.
Right, that makes sense.
No, and I think that's a really good point, actually, Sabrina, because you see new players come into play, and so they form an alliance at a moment, and then sometimes this alliance is broken, and the person really gets like hurt. Like I've been there faster that moment, like, but come on, you're supposed to be friends. But I think that it's a very interesting, and I think you really need to play to understand, because if you're unspoken allying with a person like attacking a color, and then you just like drop your queen for that, I see as like a kind of a code. I don't know if I like the word code, but there's some things that you cannot expect to happen in alliance, at least in the games I play, right? Like if you give away your queen, don't matter how much allied you are with someone else, the person will probably take it, right? So it's a very interesting. For me it's hard to answer, but I think I learned to always be like expecting that this person can change at any minute. So you never put all in. I never put all in. You always say, all right, maybe I lose a horse, maybe I lose a bishop, but I still have some kind of protection, right? But I play a game, very, very fun game with like, when we ended up with like 4 kings and a bishop, because this concept that Shreya said really was applied when everyone was always swifting for the strongest. So, so the game kind of self-regulated in a very interesting way, and it was really fun. And in the end, kind of was like a draw or something like that, because everyone just killed each other and up to the point that no one has any pieces left on the board. It was really fun, this swifting out of going for the strongest player on the board. I think that was the thing on that game.
Do y'all think this is a good enough time to switch over and actually feel out alliances in real time? Wonderful.
I mean, I can tell you what's going to happen. Chico is just going to come after me, and then I don't know, the two of you are going to have a choice to make. So
It's just so much fun to do that, I just can't help it.
Chico, well, I don't know. I know you guys, I don't know when the last time you played together was, but Chico has been aching to get revenge on me for like literally 4 weeks now. So I might give you like 5 minutes of competition there. Because I got a checkmate on him once 5 weeks ago, and he's not let it go.
It was a beautiful checkmate. It was beautifully done.
It was very close to a checkmate, but it was not one, and I was sad. All right. Well, for our viewers, we also have something super interesting today on our game. So, Quaternity has a really cool concept called NFT boards. And today we're going to be kind of playing on one. Shreyas, do you want to kind of walk us through a little bit of it?
Why don't you bring it up?
It is up.
Oh, is it? Oh, everybody can see it. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. So I mean, I think one of the things which people suggested would be really fun was just to have custom boards that were based on sort of Quaternity art. And so our first sort of iteration of this is this Malevich series, and we've got a few different sort of tiers. There's like the founder sets, there are these signature boards and community boards. I think what you're seeing right now is a signature. And yeah, I mean, it's just a super cool piece of art that you can own. And it also has this utility of being usable as a board within the game. And it's like our way of like giving people the opportunity to sort of both support Quaternity while sort of participating in the project. The NFT stuff, that is, so we opted to implement these boards as NFTs, and NFTs are these tokens in crypto land where essentially it allows for easy sale of these tokens in the future whenever anybody wants via like a bunch of platforms that are free to use, like OpenSea and Rarible and others. So ours is listed on OpenSea. Happy to talk about that more, but that gets into the weeds of like what crypto is and so on.
For sure. Cool. Thank you for that introduction. To anyone watching, highly recommend one of these boards. I just got mine like very recently, and it is the most beautiful experience to play a Quaternity game on a board.
And if you want to buy it, you can just buy it in the platform within the account section. So that's the other piece. But yeah.
Very cool. Okay, cool. Let's start. Good game, y'all. I'm white and unhappy about it.
Oh, that's interesting. A lot of people don't like to play white because they don't like to be first. I never understand. I think you don't like Shreyas, right?
Yeah, I don't like white. But yeah, I mean, I don't think it's the common viewpoint.
Well, I think, to be honest, it's the first time that I play in this kind of board. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's gonna be messy. I don't like. Whenever I have played with the founders board, which is only a couple of times, I generally you can change the opacity and stuff like that to reduce the impact when you're playing, and I generally make it closer to a black and white board. So this is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
The last time I played with this, I played it with the full animation, with everything moving.
That's wild.
I had a ball. I thought it was great.
That's absolutely wild. So, who is black and who is green?
I'm black.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I use the green. I put Snoop for the Portuguese live on Monday, and since then I'm forgetting to change it. So I'm playing as Anonymous like forever, which is really fun to be honest. But now I need to change it because everyone will know it's anyone who watched the Portuguese live will know too.
Yeah, I know it's you. Mm-mm.
Oh, good move, Sabrina. Now you blocked my bishop opening. Right.
Mhm.
Oh, I don't love that. Okay.
I see, I see. I see. No, actually, now I can. All right.
What just happened?
Come on. Come on, Chico. Terrible.
Oh, that's another point about alliances, right? You have to guess what the alliances is, and that. Well, I think actually there's a really interesting point when you need to put yourself in the point of view of others. For instance, I for sure thought Shreyas would jump to J5 to try to eat one of my pawns, but maybe he was going after you, Priyanka, after all.
I thought he was going after me. Yeah, I thought he was going to go for my super pawn.
I was not going after her.
Yeah, you see, I was right.
I was not going after anybody, just to be clear. It's like too early to be going after anybody. But
that's exactly what someone's going after somebody at the beginning of the game would say. Just
yeah, I'm with Chico. I don't know.
By the way,
like,
you saved Chico's horse right here. Because if you had not moved your horse to this middle square, the what is this? I3 horse is hanging right now for Chico.
Yeah, I did see. I didn't. It wasn't hanging. There's the rook now.
Yeah, but mine's protected, so he has to like lose the rook as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but I should move. I was going to say I did see that I would be protecting that when I did that. That was a choice I made. Chico, I hope you're paying attention.
Oh, I see.
Well, and here we just have an amazing example of unspoken alliance.
Questionable whether it's unspoken or not.
It was. No one said anything until you called it out.
No, well, I mean, it does take a minute for you to get comfortable with this, with the new board, right?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's not the easiest.
It definitely, I actually, weirdly enough, y'all should try this sometime. You should try with the animation versus as a still frame, because I actually found the animation easier to play on than the still frame.
Interesting.
Bearing in mind, my opacity usually looks a little bit like this. But I find that when it's moving somehow, because things are animated, like it makes it, my brain just understands there's more happening. And so I'm like, I don't know, it does a weird thing, but like for me, that was easier. So Sabrina and I actually played together on this board like last week during one of our games. And I found that during the animated, I found it easier to kind of keep track of the game. But when it was a still frame, and at that point we also dropped the like opacity, so it was like really saturated color and was beautiful. But I couldn't focus on anything. My worry with doing this, is that then super is unprotected anyway.
Oh, that's the stable.
The stable. I was thinking the same thing.
That's that pawn structure.
Yeah. Natalie gently name it this stable.
That's a pretty good name. I like it.
Yeah. And I always used to do it like a lot. It used to be like his signature move for a moment. But Sabrina, how do you feel about like the alliances? I mean, the sense this constantly changing of alliances in the game. I mean, how do you feel about it? Do you find it difficult to follow, or do you find that makes the game funnier? I mean, how do you view this aspect of the game?
Right. So yeah, it makes it more interesting because like there's just like that much more like variables, and you're not exactly sure like when people are going to like break alliances or like change or like start working together or that sort of thing. Yeah, I have played mostly with like just Priyanka and like a couple bots. So, and like not as much with all people. So yeah, that's like I'm still kind of getting a feel for like alliances and how to best use them and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, the bots, they really teach you to not rely on alliances, right? Because they're completely unpredictable.
Right. Although a couple times, like the last few times that we've played, they've kind of like the bots have almost formed an alliance and like went after either Priyanka or I, which has been kind of strange because we were not expecting that at all. But like they both like attacked one person and like kind of like played off of each other, and we were very surprised.
I love to play with someone else in a bot, because the bot always do like the moves at the beginning when they sacrifice the horse, and you can get, and I love to play with people who's not paying attention to that, because I always do that. I eat the horse with my bishop, the horse eats the bot eats the super pawn, protects my bishop. It's a very fun move to do. But sorry, Shreyas, you were saying something about the bots. I
didn't say anything. I just said that's funny. That's how I feel it. The bots, yeah, they're not like super intelligent. Is how I would phrase it.
I'm with Sabrina though, because there have been times where they do things. I mean, and I know theoretically that they can't form an alliance, and I'm just like, there's no way you're not forming one. Like it's wild. Because it's also funny because you've explained how they work and you've explained what they do, and I'm just like sitting here thinking, how is it that it's 3 moves in the game and somehow the best thing to do is to attack this one player already? Like I don't have that foresight. I think it turns out to be really funny, especially because sometimes they attack the same player for like 15 moves and just like strip them bare by the time they're done, and then decide to move on.
Yeah, but then they leave you alive normally. They leave you alive normally.
Yeah, they do, because they don't mate. But it's pretty funny. No, it's great. I think it's really funny. The last game that Serena and I played, they came for me and I got really pissed, and then I mated everyone.
Yeah.
And you what? Sorry, I missed that.
I got really pissed off because they came for me and they like just took out a bunch of my pieces, and then I got really mad and I played very aggressive, which, as you guys know, I don't usually do. Oh, it's my turn. And it ended up being quite funny, because I ended up mating everybody.
Yeah, sometimes it pays off, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another good strategy, right? You just ask a question for a person, it's a turn, so the person just lose time answering the questions until the moment.
Oh man, big move.
Sure, why not?
Horses.
Pretty interesting position.
Sigh. Oh, damn.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Definitely not ideal. It's definitely
No,
not
it's
ideal.
not. Shit. Okay. I don't like that.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh, it's too early for me. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, pawn game can be destructive sometimes.
pawn game is so cool when you actually crack it, and it's wild because pawns are so invisible that you like, I saw that and I was like, this is what I have to respond to, this is more important, and then just forgot when I was like doing all of the thinking, including it was but pawns are like my favorite pieces on the board, honestly, because like everything else is so apparent and visible, but pawns can just change an entire game and you won't even realize it's doing it until it's done. So cool, so underrated.
No, but I mean, should we? Are we able to talk about the game dynamics, or just try? I don't know. I mean, we're talking about alliances, right? Because it was really cool. I mean, Shreyas' move actually was a really interesting move on the game. Because I mean, I still can like eat your pawn, and Shreyas may want to trade a bishop for a horse, but it's interesting, like, you know, like this alliance kind of thing, because I mean, red is seeing white's getting in trouble, green is in a very good position to checkmate white, so red tried to gain some, right? And it's very interesting. All right, and then one remember that Priyanka's helped me in a hard time, in moments of trouble.
I wasn't gonna say it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. No,
but you know, I see that it does seems to like make an effect on people, because if you play like not one game, right? But if you're playing with someone regularly, you kind of develop a relation. It's really, and then you like, there are people that will definitely help in some situations. There are people that I would never help. Actually, I would improve their. No way I would help you. It's very interesting how
funny. That's so
right. Funny. You understand that, Shreyas? I bet you have your preferences.
I get it. Oh, come on. Should I do something fun here? Okay. That's so fun.
And I mean, I think that sometimes is a very, because even though like Shreyas' move was not something, I mean, I would happily trade with Shreyas a horse for a bishop, right? Because we're diagonals. But I think the kind of attention of the game, it's interesting, right? He's putting attention of, it's kind of, I don't know if it's a message, but I thought it's very interesting, the concept, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys are following, if I'm like tripping here by myself, but I really think it's a very interesting thing with the game.
No. I think that if you had attacked, if you had put your castle in white, I would have taken the but it's for you lose, you could end up losing the castle if you waste your move on responding to that. Okay. Interesting. And
I have a feeling I'm going to be mated soon.
brutal. Well, I don't know about that. I want to open up the pawn line. Actually, my position is not that good. It's not what one would want. Yeah, this definitely is not. Okay.
Oh, almost made a terrible mistake. That moment that you almost click on the piece. Oh.
That's always tough, man. That's
Good
just
when you catch it though.
really tough.
It's always a sad time when I click something and then I realize my mistake.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
They often end up being blunders when that happens too. It's not ideal.
Yep.
And it's horrible when you realize it the minute after, just it's
Dropped it. Yeah.
Yeah, like the second after, and you're like, no.
And then you pray. I mean, you just wish and pray for the universe to make something happen and save you from that situation. It's like, oh, it's me again. All right. Righty.
Interesting.
Y'all ever been in a game where one person just refused to form an alliance with literally anyone ever? Like they
There
were
are players that
always
are
playing after
exceptionally
themselves.
aggressive, right? They're just exceptionally aggressive, so they'll just like attack whoever. People often do that.
Oh, it happens often?
I mean, okay, not that often, but it's not uncommon, I don't think.
How do we feel, not feel?
I mean, it's not like a winning strategy, I don't think, to do that. Because you just lose all your pieces very fast.
Mhm. Oh, I didn't catch that. Hmm. Hmm. Oh my God. Um,
Hmm. No, that I would say it in a minute. I would say it in a minute.
Man, I'm not sure.
The game is very.
Poised.
I don't have the. Too early for my English to be functioning perfectly. Oh, full of my capacity. That's what I meant. Right? But clunky. I don't know. I don't know the word, but you know. I mean, that my intention was not coming after your bishop, but you know, we do it and say, "Oh, she will think that I was coming after her bishop," you know.
oh, I see.
Get out, Chico. There's no way that was true. It's just the bishop was protected.
I could just eat her bishop right now. Eat your bishop if that was the intention, right?
No, the bishop's protected. That's the only reason you didn't eat it.
Yeah, so why would I put my horse there at first?
I don't know. Put some pressure.
No, I have another intentions.
Mm.
Mm.
Hmm. I like how Sabrina, Chico, and I are all like in the 1 minute range. Of course, like Chico does really, really well with like 10 seconds on the clock, so whatever. But Sabrina and I need to watch our time, and Shreyas is just chilling at like 3 minutes.
Yeah. It's impressive.
I don't know. Let's see. We should
No, but
see.
actually, that's something, and I used to watch and now doing that a lot. That's like, where do you spend your moment playing?
Mhm.
Your time, right? How do you spend your time playing? Because for me, this kind of unspoken alliances and dynamic of the middle game is so important that I prefer to waste my time at that moment to like have a nice vision of that. And at the end game, I found it more mechanic, right? And then it really goes more similar to chess in my understanding, right?
Mhm.
That's
Yeah,
and
I think when you're down, but the issue here is we still have 4 people on the board.
yeah, that's true.
And you have to make it to the end game, right?
Yeah.
I do agree with the idea though. What do you do? Do you take it? You took it. Okay. Yeah, that was idiotic.
I will say I really enjoyed having us play this long only because it's been really interesting to see the dynamics that happen, but also it's just been so beautiful. I cannot describe ever enough how pretty it is because like I feel like in general I'm a little bit romantic with this where I feel like the board, like just even on a standard board, the game is really beautiful when you have different like pieces in different positions and different setups. But then when you add the NFT, the art to it, it's really like a piece of art all the time. And it's really pretty. Anyway, that's my spiel.
Mhm.
Oh, which other time, Sabrina? 10, 9, 8.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
Oh.
Right now, I need some time to think.
You got time. You got lots of time.
I know I have a whole minute. I have a whole minute. All right. Saw it. It is always there. Best move is always there.
Oh,
That's
annoying.
not the move I thought you would make, Chico, but okay.
That was good anticipation on your part, though. Hmm.
Oh, Priyanka.
What?
Crashing my party. Yes.
Did you say I'm crashing your party?
Crushing is hard.
Oh, crashing is hard.
Mm.
Um, hmm.
Yeah, I'm in a bad way as far as time goes.
You and me both, friendo.
Yeah, time really adds an important dimension.
Indeed, it does.
It's me. Sorry.
Shreyas, your pawn moves are always so interesting. I've really been thinking a lot more about like pawn game since like our last conversation.
I don't think
Oh,
my
this
pawns
dude.
are that good.
No,
And
but they're
you-
very interesting.
8, 7, 6.
You're so Chico, I swear when we finally meet in person, I might smack you for real. Like
I'm trying to
one day-
help you. Come on. Don't lose by time. Don't do it. Don't lose by time.
Oh.
It's no fun when someone loses by time.
Man, all of you are on like low time. I mean, I will be there soon, but
All right.
Big moves. Big moves, Steve.
Oh, interesting. Lol.
Oh.
Sabrina's gotten better with time again, but now Chico and I are not doing.
It's not so easy right now, I would say.
Yeah. No! Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, wow.
Okay, I can't save you from that, sadly.
No, it's fine. That was my see. Oh.
Oh, Priyanka.
Oh.
Sorry.
No.
Oh.
Big sad. It's fine. At least you didn't just blunder your queen, my dude. Like, it could have been worse.
I did that earlier, so it already checked off my list.
But that actually changed a lot of things, right?
Right.
Changed tons and tons of stuff.
So sad. Especially because I didn't have to. I could have just. I'm not going to forgive myself for this for a long time.
Man.
It happens.
But I wonder what Chico's going to do now.
Yeah, I think Sabrina saved your queen, Priyanka.
Oh. Well, if you did, thank you, Sabrina.
No problem. I guess if I have to lose by time, at least I can help somebody else out of it.
Oh, no, actually, no. Actually, I need to take it.
Yep. That's what I thought.
I need to take it. Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. That's fine.
Take it.
Oh.
Shreyas just watching the whole world burn, right, Shreyas?
Yeah, I have my pawn structure is the most open of anybody.
Oh,
right now. Ooh. Now
I
that's
didn't realize it
interesting.
was my turn again because I was waiting for
Yeah, so Chico, why did you take that?
Oh.
She's gonna run out of time very soon. So
No, I have faith. I have faith.
Well, the thing is though, Chico, if you hadn't taken it and you'd let me do what I wanted to do, you would have gotten 3 armies once I ran out of time, if you'd managed to checkmate me. Because I was like 1 move from checkmating Sabrina.
Yeah, that's why yeah, but then I think then the points come at because I mean, if you do the first checkmate, you got 2 points.
do come in. Yeah, that's true. The points do come in.
Oh, that is true. Oh, yeah. That makes sense. I keep forgetting about the points sometimes and I think it's only because I've never really played in like a tournament. So it's never like, I know it, obviously it's like a thing, excuse me, that you see it at the end, but it's somehow less in my head. Big sigh.
Yeah. Wait, explain for somebody who's not familiar. What are the points?
So basically first checkmate gets the first checkmate of the game gets 2 points, and then the second and third get 1 point each. And if a player gets all 3 checkmates, they get 5 points because they get an extra one added on. And
Gotcha.
so the points, so like the first checkmate is the most important checkmate, and you really want to get that one even if you can't get any of the others, because it's worth the most. And so when Shreyas and Chico were talking earlier about playing in a team and getting the checkmate, like the points ended up being the reason that they won that tournament. Like it came really, really close, and then it just so happened that like because they played really well and all that good stuff, like the points kind of was what pushed them over the edge.
Gotcha.
And so the point system, like, so people are very protective of that first checkmate, and everyone always wants to get it. Because like in a less quote unquote like friendly game, like that's, and in general in Quaternity, like that's the most important checkmate you get if you can't get all three, or at least like more than one.
Man, this is like very hard for me to tell what is going on right now.
Yeah, and the first checkmate is worth more because like it's hardest to get just because everyone has like the most pieces and like
Did you do this intentionally, Chico?
Sorry?
Did you do this intentionally?
Yeah.
As in, you're gonna lose in this next move, right?
I didn't have the time.
Okay.
Well, actually, it's a tie, right? So that's
Well, it's a tie. I don't know. In a points way, it's a tie. I mean, by lose, I meant to get checkmated. But yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting point, right? I mean, how do you? I should have moved the bishop actually, but how do you? For what are you playing, right? Because some tournaments, the first checkmate even puts you in a better position at the end of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So lots of people go for it. Yeah.
Okay. The interesting situation there was that it was actually close to you getting a checkmate back on me.
Yeah.
After you got the checkmate, it was like quite an interesting position actually.
What move was this? Do you know?
This right here.
Oh.
Like I had A11 protected.
Yeah.
But if A11 was not protected, like Chico would have a checkmate on me, which was like just an interesting position, I think.
Oh yeah, of course. Wow.
Anyway, school game.
Wait, I couldn't. Oh
No. The square is protected, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But anyway.
No, actually, the best move, I think I should have moved my bishop to L2 first. And then I would still have the checkmate, I think. And maybe. And you would not be able to do the checkmate on me. That would be the best move, actually.
Yeah.
But it was a really cool game, actually. I mean, that's what's sad when people lose by time, right? Because you lose all this, and it becomes a little bit more I think lose the interest in of like the conversational aspect of the game.
But I think this game was particularly interesting just because I think this is one of the longest middle games that I've ever played in terms of like, it took us like a little bit to get started and we were just like in middle game for like the longest time until Shreyas was like, guys, we're like on 30 seconds. Like the three of us were on 30 seconds each and he was like, we need to see end game at some point. And at which point like I personally, I know that I shifted how I was thinking about it. So it was just really interesting because it was like a really long conversation and then in like 25 moves, everyone was done.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is interesting because for me, I don't know if this is actually true because I know we were doing different things the whole time, but it's like, that's interesting to see when people kind of get to the point where like, oh, I'm really enjoying this conversation, so I want to keep it going versus like, okay, we need to call it a day and move on because we need to be done. Because we could have switched at any point, I think, and it would have been interesting. But anyway, cool. Thank you guys for joining me. This has been really fun.
Yeah, awesome. This is great.
Thank you. It was a nice game. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone who tuned in. As you know, we have Quaternity lives in Portuguese and in English every week. We also have daily games on Discord that I think I mentioned at some point earlier today that you can come and join in. We have games Monday through Friday. And feel free to connect with us on social media. And if you have any questions, concerns, thoughts, put them either in the comments, like reach out on social media. We'll be happy to answer them. And thank you three for joining us again. And we'll see you all next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks.